But it really creates that culture where we are creating, we are noticing, and then we are recognizing behavior that we want repeated, and we're kind of making people feel good for doing that. And that's where they feel like they are making a difference in people's lives, because they see that, they hear it, that's constantly shared in those meetings.
Welcome everybody. Today's episode, Chez shares his proven strategies for developing and retaining top talent in fitness industry. Welcome to Top Rated Gym, the podcast that helps ambitious gym owners build profitable and sustainable fitness businesses. I'm your host, Andre Cvijovic, and with every episode we deliver actionable insights, expert advice, and success stories to help you grow your memberships, streamline your operations, and achieve financial stability, even if you struggled with marketing challenges, operational overwhelm, or financial limitations in the past. Today, I'm excited to welcome Chez Misko, the Vice President of Wisconsin Athletic Club. Chez has been with the club since 1991, starting as a martial art instructor and working his way up to oversee the day-to-day operations in their 8 full-service locations and over 1,000 employees. Chez is a true veteran of the fitness industry. He is a passionate advocate for continuing learning and employee development. He is here today to share his insights on building the strong company culture and retaining top talent. Chez, thank you for joining me today.
Thank you for having me. It's an honor and pleasure to be on here.
So you've been in Wisconsin for a long time. I would like you to tell us about your incredible tenure with the company, and what do you attribute to your longevity and success with the company?
Oh yeah, so I started at the Wisconsin Athletic Club back, as you said, in 1991. My first job here was teaching martial arts, and I had, I guess, the privilege of working in almost every single area of the club. Because when I started here, I was actually 15 years old. So my mom drove me to my interview, which was always a joke around here, the standpoint of I grew up here in the club business. And so while I was in high school and college, I did the front desk, taught swim lessons, did kids clubhouse, did maintenance. I mean, I would do anything I could to earn some dollars. So whatever we had open shift in whatever department, our club pub or bar area, it didn't matter. I would jump in and spend some time doing those things. So I was lucky to do all of those. And while I was in college, my first job was the weekend manager, and then moved into our service manager, front desk manager. Graduated with a degree in athletic training sports medicine and became a certified strength and conditioning specialist and personal trainer. So I became our fitness manager. A year or two after that, I became a general manager, then moved into the role of overseeing all the clubs. So I was vice president of operations, had a couple different titles. I'm currently now the chief operating officer and one of the owners. So I've had the privilege of starting out teaching one day a week martial arts to now being one of the owners of the club. So it's an awesome journey. I was lucky to just be around some amazing people. We've always had great leaders and mentors and people that really poured into the staff here at the Wisconsin Athletic Club, dating back to before I even started. Our history is we opened in 1976 originally with one club and grew that to a few different locations, sold off a couple of those locations, and then back in the 90s we went and added more locations, so we ramped it back up to now having 8 full service locations. And then we do Working Well, which is our corporate wellness, so we operate fitness centers on site for companies in the Metro Milwaukee area. So that's a little bit about WAC and a little bit about my journey with WAC. And I've just really had an experience here working with great people. 2 of my original partners in the business were instrumental in forming URSA originally. They've been part of that. One of my former partners was the 3rd president of URSA. So we really have a long history in the health and fitness industry, and I've been able to learn from some of the best in the business over the years. So.
Man, you're such an inspirational story, brother. I gotta tell you this. For everybody who's listening there and thinking like, is this the place to be? It's your life commitment. It's your life mission. Yeah. Starting from the age when kids don't even know what the heck are they going to eat for lunch later on, and not even thinking about future. But your loyalty, your commitment in 34 years of deepening your understanding really brings the value to your brand. As much as this is great for you, I think it's incredible value for the brand that you are part of and having you as a person of influence in that brand.
So. Yeah, well, in our organization with my business partners, they've all been in the industry longer than I have. So I'm the young one at 34 in the standpoint of number of years experience. And we have a lot of people that have worked for us for over 20, 30, 35 years. It's just a great group of people. It's easy to be part of an organization when you have not only just the culture that you have, but the caring and the connection with the people that are there. So.
There is something magical there. People listening to this podcast now are thinking like, hold on, when is this recorded? Is this recent? Having somebody sticking with a company for 30 plus years, it's unheard of today. Mm-hmm. We can ask ChatGPT how many individuals stick to that, because usually they're saying people change 3 huge careers, about 38 jobs in their lifetime. Mm-hmm. And now we're talking about something such a unique, such a rare today. But there's a secret behind it. There's a reason why you stick to that. We want to get to find out what's happening over there and why it's such a beautiful organization. And can you share some of these elements, key elements, what makes this culture of your company such a remarkable that kept you there and also keeping others?
You mentioned culture, and I think what's really important is that you spend time on developing cultures. We were in the health and fitness business, so we have to provide outstanding fitness experiences for people. We have to make sure we have nice looking facilities. We have to do all those things because that's the business we're in, right? That's the product we have. But really, the way we've looked at it is that the product we have is that we have people that are there to really connect with other people. And we spend our time really trying to build the culture in which we take care of our team members and really make them feel like they're special, that they matter to us, because they do. And we've created a real simple mission, and that's to make a difference in people's lives. And that concept starts with us making a difference in the people that work for the Wisconsin Athletic Club. If we can make a difference in their life, we can make them feel that, again, we care about them, that we're connected to them, that we want them to be the best they can be. And I'll share some specific strategies in a little bit on that, but it starts with a belief. A lot of people talk about caring about their employees, or they have a mission statement on the wall that says specifically this and that or whatever else, but it's in what you do on a day-to-day basis that reinforces that, and it's making sure that the people truly feel that mission, not just know the words or can recite it when somebody asks them what it is. And I think that's what really has helped us over the years, is that we do things that really reinforce that mission on a day-to-day basis, and it's connected through in every aspect of how we manage the business, versus it just being in something that's covered on an annual basis at some leadership retreat or something. And so for us, that's really been the focal point, is being mission focused and carrying that and interwinding it through everything that we do as an organization as part of that process. So I think that's a real important part of it.
Chez, you're talking that this is like it's simple it is. Even your mission, like 5 words, make difference in people's life, right? And I feel when you say that, you just carry that. You don't think about it. You own it. I love the statement when people say, belief is a poor substitute for experience. But it seems like you didn't just promise people good culture. You're living it. You're delivering it. They're experiencing it. You're living proof of that. You cannot tell them, hey, come here and work with me for a long-term career, and you're there for 3 months. It's like, how's that possible? But you guys are living, and you're helping people experience it. And that's the difference. You didn't say, I'm here 34 years. You says, hey, the whole team is here longer than me. I'm a new guy. It's like,
I am the new guy. It's true.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
But I think it goes back to, and I mentioned it's the strategies that you take, and I give you a couple just specific examples, is that we, again, have a very simple mission. We have a very simple philosophy that we teach to our team, and we empower them to do the right thing, to be able to reinforce that. It's not about rules, it's about making it right. And we carry those mission points through on a regular basis, and I'm just going to give you some examples. And specifically, when we have a meeting with our team, we start every meeting with us sharing what we call WAC moments. And a WAC moment is a moment in when somebody, either they themselves or they witness somebody else on our team, go above and beyond to make a difference in someone's life. It could be something simple, like they just helped somebody out to the car because they had their kids and now their workout bag and their diaper bag, where they really just went above and beyond to do something like that. And I've had instructors literally send out cards to people because they weren't in class. So it's just all these little things that they can do that make what we call WAC moments. And then we start every meeting with us going around the room talking about a WAC moment. And each person that's in the meeting has to share a WAC moment. The magic in that is that you have to be paying attention then to WAC moments happening in the clubs. You want to create WAC moments because you know you're going to have to share. No one wants to be the person in there saying, I didn't see anything or I didn't do any of that.
Peer pressure.
Peer pressure. But it really creates that culture where we are creating, we are noticing, and then we are recognizing behavior that we want repeated, and we're making people feel good for doing that. And that's where they feel like they are making a difference in people's lives, because they see that, they hear it, that's constantly shared in those meetings on a regular basis, right? And when a staff person witnesses somebody do a WAC moment, what they can do is they can fill out what we call WAC bucks, and it's just a business card that they can write in there the name of the person, and then on the back side of the card they can write right on there what they saw that was a WAC moment, and they give that directly to that person that did it. So we can right away catch somebody doing something right, and that's a big part of our philosophy, because it's not about waiting till later on. As soon as they see it, they can right away go do that. They don't have to go and give it to a manager and then the manager has to approve it. Any team member can recognize and, again, reward right away that. And a WAC buck is worth $1. So they can collect them if they want to get a massage, they want to buy a racquetball racket, whatever they want to use it for, they can.
People each other catching.
Yeah. And it's peer.
Employees,
it's not just
and
manager
somebody
to
else, they might not brag about it, but okay, I got you. I'm reporting you for something you did good.
I think too many cultures, it's really about catching people doing something wrong, right?
My God.
You didn't do this today, you were supposed to be here, and it's all negative. And what we really choose to do is focus on the positive. And again, there's just, most of us will probably remember a time where somebody came up to us and said something positive to us, right? It just has been impactful. But it doesn't happen very often. I mean, it really doesn't. When you think of the number of times that you've probably been praised, or the number of times that somebody's caught you doing something and really stopped you and recognized it. And so it becomes special, it becomes unique, and that's the culture that now we've created, in that standpoint of just making people feel as though we're looking at them to do the things that they're doing well, versus most companies focusing on all the stuff that they could do better or needs improvement, or again, catching them doing something that's wrong. And it's a subtle change, but it's a big change on the way it feels working in a company that creates that as an outcome.
And then as a result, because there's always action and reaction, as a result of that meeting, how often that meeting happens? Daily, weekly?
It's every meeting. So if I have a meeting with all of our general managers, we start that meeting with that. If a general manager has a meeting with their department managers, that's how we start all meetings. If it doesn't matter what, any meeting that we have, if there's a group of us together, that's how we start the meeting. But it also refocuses, because most meetings, maybe you're focused on doing something better, or you're trying to solve a problem or a situation. But when you start the meeting on that high note, it focuses on the positive versus focusing on the negative.
Express gratitude. Even the person who was feeling bad or has to bring some bad news or solve the problems or something break down, you change the focus, like, okay, tell me about WAC moment first. Then we'll talk about everything else.
Yeah.
It shifts that mental note. I was like, okay, the world is a much better place, because it's all about how we focus, how we prime ourselves, how we do it. I love that thing. You know, you give them $1, it can be simple reward. It's not about monetary reward, but it's just a knowing appreciation. People do way more for appreciation. We are all paid in multiple ways. We're paid by money, and money goes and pays the bills. Nobody gives us gratitude for money we pay. It gets deployed that we don't even see it. But when we are paid with this appreciation, that's the loyalty, that's the gratitude, that's how you pay them back with even more appreciation. It multiplies it, right?
Yeah. And when you hear the stories that come out of those WAC moments, we just had one a couple of months ago, and it was a story of a group fitness instructor just connecting with somebody in the class, and after class that person sent them an email saying that that basically they saved their life. If it wasn't for them caring about that person, they were going to end their life that day, and they had it planned. And they said that because of the care, helped that person so much and talked to them and made them feel like they cared about them. And so when you go through those, every person that was in that meeting literally was crying because of the impact that we had on that person. And when you feel that, and you feel that over and over again, it just creates that culture where you do actually know that you are making a difference in people's lives, and it feels special and it feels unique. Versus most people just feel like they go to their job every day, and again, they're doing things and they matter and they're important, but it's at a different level when you really know that you are taking people and improving them and having a positive impact in their life.
Because when people leave the gym and they never come back, we think, oh, they cancel the membership. Everybody has internal battles. But being there, looking for the opportunities. And what I like about that, it's not a campaign that happens once a week. It's not a campaign that just happened during the onboarding. It's a culture. And that means it's a part of DNA. It's a part of the muscle memory. And when you keep doing it over and over, you build that reflexes. It says, okay, recognize the moment. Let me run to open the door. Let me grab this person. Let me help them because I see the opportunity. People start looking to say, hey, how can I add this on? It becomes a habit, almost subconscious thinking. How do you do that? Yeah. But it's also part of the personality because not everybody's in that mode. No. I'm wondering, it's beautiful that come from you and from your core team and everybody else. And some people might act like that for the purpose of individual recognition, their own ego, right? Or they might talk to colleagues, come on, put a note for me, right? Or did you see that? Did you see what I just did? How do you recognize natural, instinctive people to bring on the team who are willing to align with this and drive that instead of just doing it because it's a rule or everybody does it and it's not their own gut feeling?
Yeah, I think when you have the culture and you are surrounded with people that truly do care, and when I say this, we have really three simple core values, and that's connect, that's care, and continuous improvement, right? Those are the three, this is our mission, and these are our three core values, super simple, 3 C's as part of that process. And I'll give you an example, like our goal is we want to be the best health club, we want to be the best that's the most successful, hit certain markers, but what we talk about, and if you've ever read the book Good to Great, there's the hedgehog concept of the 3 circles that overlap. And what we want to be the best in the world in creating is we want to be the best in the world at connecting with people. And so we feel that by connecting with people, that's going to make us have better retention, have better clubs, have better overall experience within fitness. And when we connect with people and we can form these relationships, what you find is that people will quit clubs, but they won't quit a relationship. And so they might leave us for a period of time. Maybe they move away, or maybe they just get out of fitness for a while or whatever. But they always come back to us because of the community that we've created and the relationships that are there. And that's why we also make it really easy for people to come and go in our clubs, because we know that life happens, right? And if we make it easy for them to join, we make it easy for them to leave, it's going to make it easy for them to come back. And that's why I think over the last 48 years, even though we have way more competitors today than 48 years ago, and obviously during that time we've seen a lot of competitors come and go, and I think that's why we're still here, is because we've been able to create those relationships, we've been able to create that connection with people. And again, 50% of our members every month are people coming back to us, rejoining, that have left us for some reason and decided to come back to us because of the experience that we've created. And I think that's a big impact for a lot of people, because for us they might come and go just like friends. Your friends you might see on a regular basis, and then you don't for a couple months, but they're still your friends, and that's how they are for us. These people are our friends, whether they're here or they're not here. When they come back, we're still there for them.
Jokingly, Chez, I like to say that you messed them up. Why? Because they come to you as a first experience. They have experience. They don't know the rest of the world. They think that's how the gym world is. Then they go somewhere else and it's like, why this guy is so rude? Why nobody say hi to me? Why nobody gives a crap? And they go to the third gym maybe. And I was like, okay, this is bad gym. And the more they try, the more they see how unique you were when they first joined, and they come back. Mm-hmm. But I have a burning question.
Yep.
You see, the gym exists for decades. Is this how it started, or is this transition that happens along the way?
When we were originally founded in 1976, we were called the Racquetball Club. And then we moved to what was called West Dallas Athletic Club, and then Wisconsin Athletic Club. So that was the evolution over the 48 years. Again, one of the partners is still in the business that founded the business in 1976. He's still an active partner. But the philosophy that we've had has been similar since day one. And when we started in racquetball, we didn't really charge membership fees. You had a club and you basically got to pay to play. That was how you paid court time. That was how it started. And so what of all of our predecessors as owners here at WAC came up with was, we got to create a reason for them to come and play. And the best way to do that is to connect with the people, and then to connect those members with other members. And we were lucky in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, there's a huge bowling community, and what was really popular in the 70s was bowling leagues. And so we really came instrumental into our success was bringing in the league system to our racquetball program, because we could literally get hundreds of people in leagues playing each other and connecting with each other, making friendships. And if I go down the road now, we're literally on third generation grandkids now. Their grandparents played racquetball and their parents grew up here and now they grew up here. It's crazy to see the evolution of that because of that. But that's always been in our DNA since day one. And we've refined it and improved it over the last 48 years, and then took it from racquetball and extrapolated it to fitness and group fitness, and kept it with court sports and aquatics and all the other areas that we have in our organization. But that philosophy and that mission and core values and all those things we talk about is woven into everything we do, right? It doesn't matter what department or what area, it all comes through, and it's all managed and thought through the same way, through that lens of our culture.
That's why it says culture eats strategy for breakfast, because you can change strategy, you can change tactics, you can change approach, you can change your workout, you can change technology. You can change people, but if you don't change your heart, and that's the mission, that's the internal why, right? Love towards what you do it, and a mission to be obsessed with the mission. It says, don't fall in love with your product or service. Fall in love with your customers.
Yep.
Because we are all here to serve them all the time. And core values are DNA of every business. And I'm thinking now about people who are listening, who are like, okay, damn, I messed up. My culture is not like that. They're in transactional value. They're in quick couple weeks challenges, and they're coming in and out. What would you recommend somebody who recognizes the problem to start shifting towards something better?
Just one little aside though is, there's a lot of right ways to do something. There's not just the way we do it that creates a positive outcome. So I think what's really important for people is that it doesn't matter where you start, right? It's just like fitness. It's the same way. It doesn't matter where you start. It's where you go from there, where you finish, kind of thing. And so if you're not happy with the culture that you've created, you can change it. And I think anybody can change that. Right. But I think it starts by going back to
continuous improvement.
Continuous improvement. But I think it goes back to what's your why. I think sometimes people's why is more just based on a financial side. They want to have so many members, or they want to have so much revenue or so much. And I think those things are a byproduct. It's like sales. The number of sales you get is a byproduct of how you prospect, right? If you prospect, you're going to get good sales. And what we've looked at is if we create a really good product by creating a really good experience, the sales takes care of itself. And one thing that we stopped doing in 2006, 7, one of those, we stopped advertising. We don't do any paid advertising anymore, because what matters and what our shtick is, what our marketing is the experience people have in our clubs. And we can't put that on a postcard or on a radio ad or TV ad or whatever. We took all the money that we spent on advertising and we put that money back into the clubs, making sure the experience is what people want it to be. And when people come into our clubs, there's just a different feel, and that feel is what matters, and that's what moves the needle for us. But to go into your original question, though, is I would have them really assess what their mission is, what they're trying to accomplish, what's their why, and then what are the specific actionable steps. I think too often we say one thing and we do something else. And what's most important is that you have the congruency between what you say and what you do. And that's where the magic happens. If what you say and what you do is the same, people know what you are, people will see if that's a good fit for them, and then they'll be able to move forward. If you say one thing, you do another thing, people are important, but everything you do doesn't show that people are important, then your people aren't important. They take your actions way over your words, at least what I've found, especially more of I'd say the under 30 people today. Correct. You can say whatever you want. It's what you do that matters, and that's what people pay attention to.
That's right. And I got to say one thing. You mentioned about advertising. I'm so glad you said that, because your online reputation is incredible. Your presence, your love towards what you do, your culture, and that reflects. And by the way, Google understands that as well. And that's why they reward you with an incredible position. But I want to say one thing, and I believe you all agree. People that pays you are way more influential than people you pay. You can pay Facebook, but trust of the Facebook, what you say is nothing, versus your member saying to their friends, come with me to a workout. And they're walking them with themselves, coming into gym, and they know the people. It's like, oh my God, everybody knows you here. Feels like home. Yeah. Everybody's workout buddy.
Yeah. Well, one of the things I say is, if you have to say what you are, then you ain't it. Right? So if we have to say we're good, then it doesn't matter what we say. It's what people experience. I want them to say that we're good, not for me to say I'm good. And I think that's where the magic happens, is if you can get other people, that's what you want, because they're going to trust their friends saying, this place is great. They're not going to trust a salesperson calling them. And again, we have to do those things. We're still business. We have to call on people and do things. But the reality is, it's our reputation that matters. And we really spend a lot of time managing that and making sure that we're doing the right thing. And that's hard. We live in a time now where you can make a decision and 50% of the population is mad at what you do. But we really try to look at our membership base and in every decision and make sure we do the right thing that the majority of our members can support and be behind, and then we try to be very transparent on the why behind what we decide. Because I think the why behind the what is super crucial. A lot of companies don't communicate effectively. They'll make a decision, but they don't explain why they made the decision. And most people want to know. I mean, I don't care if they're a member or if they're a team member. They want to be part of that conversation to move forward, to know what we're doing and why we're doing it.
Tell me about this. This is impressive and really inspiring for myself and probably for people who are listening as well. It's almost like I have Tony Robbins here on the talk, coaching people about what you should do in the fitness world. Tell me about some biggest mistakes you see the fitness business owners are making when it comes to managing their people. Did you recognize something and was like, oh my God, I would never do that?
Yeah, I'm not sure what other people do, but I'll just share some mistakes that we've made, because we've made a lot of them. But I think that's also important. You got to try things and do things. And I think a mistake that in general we've made, but I think this is probably common in the whole industry, is not really developing people. I think there's a big difference between telling somebody something and teaching them and training them and making them able to do the job. And I think a lot of times people are just thrown into a role and they're not given a lot of training. Specifically, I'll use like more what I'm going to call more of a management level, or like specifically maybe your entry level or mid managers. They go from being your best personal trainer to being your fitness manager, but they don't know how to manage people. They went to school to be a trainer, and then they're not doing a great job of training and developing and helping people succeed. And that's one of the things that we've really worked hard on over specifically last probably 25 years or so, is really making sure that we set people up to succeed, and we don't just put them in the position, that we train them for that position. And I think in general, sometimes as an industry, we probably are a little short on really helping people set them up to succeed. As part of that, I think that's probably would be one. And again, that was one we did. We reevaluated and said we put somebody in as a manager, but we didn't teach them how to be a manager. They're just good at the frontline stuff. And so now,
also how much you care about people, their own progress, their own career progression. Because you could hire a manager probably from another brand who is already a trained manager. Yeah. But like yourself, you grew from being 15 years old guy doing everything, now the executive position owner of the brand.
Yeah, but we hire first for cultural fit, and then if they're a cultural fit, we can teach them a lot of the skills. A lot of times people hire people for the skills, but they don't have the cultural fit. And for us, if they don't get what we're about from a cultural standpoint, it's hard to teach that. And then when I say this, I'm not saying there's bad people, good people. It's some people just don't have a more of what I'm going to call a tasky focus than they do on a human focus. And so we look for people that focus more on the human aspects, of it, because I can teach them the tasky side of how we operate our business.
Yeah.
But I can't teach them to be nice and to make good eye contact and smile and be friendly and welcoming. Those are things that a lot of times people have or they don't have as part of that. So if you're clear what you're looking for, you hire those people, and then you teach them how to do some of the other things that are part of that process. But that takes an infrastructure. You need a very smaller club. You might not have the resources to train people and do things, so then you might have to hire somebody. But it is super important, whether you hire from the inside or outside or wherever, that they are a cultural fit, because you get one bad apple in there, sometimes it really is hard it ruins the bunch, and that's true. And somebody that just doesn't understand your culture, and it makes it harder for you to reach your goals.
With an organization such a huge as yours, employees, man, you just by collecting those fun moments, catchy moment, caring moment from everybody, have you recognized that certain employees never get recognized by other peers? And do you have any action items that says, okay, let's figure it out? Do we have a bad apple here? Like, how do you recognize bad apples?
What I will say is that if you have a strong culture, the bad apples stand out pretty quickly. It's pretty obvious, right? If you don't have a clear culture, then I think it's harder to do that because there's so many variations of it. I always use maybe this is a bad example, but the Sesame Street game, one of these is not like the other. You got four pictures, and one is not like the other three. That's what happens when you have three that are culturally alike and there's one that's not. That person does stand out. They just don't fit. And what I found too is that it's not a good fit for them, and most people kind of exit if that's not good for them. And again, we coach before we don't just terminate or do things, but again, part of the hiring process is we train them on what to look for from a cultural standpoint. Our reviews are based on culture first, then the actual tasky part of the job. But again, it goes back to in every aspect of our business, culture first, then we get into the nuances of the job or the performance standpoint, right? If it's a trainer, are they a cultural fit? Then we get into, okay, are they hitting their numbers? So that there's an order of importance to follow. And again, we try to keep it super, super simple. And I think that's one of the mistakes a lot of times our industry, really any industry does, is that they complicate stuff. And most people, it's the simple things. And it's not sexy, but it's holding yourself accountable to doing a couple things every day. That's where the magic happens, right? It's, I don't need to come up with 47 new things. I just have to be able to do the simple things. I got to make sure that everyone's greeted and said goodbye to in our club every day with every person that comes in. That's really hard to do. But that's where the magic happens, is those little simple things that we can do on a regular basis. It's the consistency, just like working out. You do one hard workout, that's great, but it's the consistency of exercise that matters. Same thing from a standpoint of service. It's the consistency of getting good service. It's the consistency of being able to feel like you're welcomed when you come into the club, and that's what really matters as part of the company.
Those basic things. It's just that they're so simple to do and so simple not to do. And people ignore how powerful they are.
The easier it is to do, the easier it is to not do it.
Yeah,
100%
exactly.
of the time.
I love you mentioned the book, Jim Collins' Good to Great. And I always want to know where the people like you learn your things. So what would you recommend to somebody who wants to really get into this world of culture and employ incredible engagement? What books, podcasts, industry events would you recommend? Any research?
I want to jump more to a more of a principle standpoint. I started in martial arts. I was lucky enough as a kid to get into something that I think really had a positive impact in my life. One of the things that with martial arts is you go from white belt to yellow belt, right? There's like a next step, right? You go from one thing to the next thing, and it's manageable, tangible. Life sometimes doesn't give you clear next steps, right? There's not a clear, you go from a yellow belt and then you go to a green belt, whatever the thing is, right? And so I think from a standpoint of that taught me is that you have to have your own personal development plan. And every year I create a personal development plan for myself. We have what are my goals, what are some of my actionable steps. And I've done that for my whole life because of martial arts. And one of the things that is one of the principles that my martial arts instructor always shared was being content to remain at the level that you've already achieved is your first step backwards. And so that's why one of our real big points is continuous improvement. And you have to find out, and is a podcast better than a book? Is a book better than a podcast? If you read these books, are they better than those books? I don't think that matters. What matters is that you're doing things that allow you to get better. What matters is that you're pushing yourself out of your comfort zone. Just like exercise, if I do the same workout and I'm not pushing myself a little harder, I'm not going to see the gains that I would see that if I'm pushing myself a little harder, right? And so it's those principles, and then applying those principles to your life create the outcomes that I think are beneficial. But most people, and I'll use like in high school, like if you want to be good at basketball, football, whatever sport you want to be, you don't just show up for the game on Friday night for football. You have practice. And then as we get older and we stop playing sports, we don't practice anymore. We don't spend time on development. We just try to show up to the game and then be really good at it. And the reality is that the people that do spend time on themselves growing and developing see better results. And it's cliche, but the old saying that the best investment that you can make is an investment in yourself is so true. And if you want to be a leader or a manager of other people, you can't pour from an empty cup. You have to make sure that you are growing and developing so that you can grow and develop the people that are underneath you or that are under your care as a leader.
That's such a great answer, because I ask you for tools, resource, thing to give us, and you give us why, you give us behind. Again, cultural answer, reason comes first.
Yeah.
Tools and tactics comes. If you don't have desire to grow, Nothing, no knowledge ever exposed in front of you will make you grow. And then if you have desire, you already know book what you want to read.
And from over the years that I've had personal development plans, yeah, I had some years where I had to read 2 books a month. Those are great at different points in times. I've had some personal development plans for myself where for the whole month, I would pick one thing, maybe 20 push-ups, something simple, but I would hold myself accountable to doing it for the whole entire month. And by putting yourself in those situations, it teaches you discipline, it helps you grow and develop, and if you can hold yourself accountable to doing this, then you're going to be able to hold yourself accountable to doing the other things that you want in your life. But my point is that those are different things that I've did and held myself accountable to over the different years, and each of them had different value at different points in times. And that's why I'm not a big fan of like, here's the personal development plan that works. Just like there's not a workout that works for everybody. You know, you have to find what's going to make you better and then do it. And that's where the magic happens, is the doing it part, because a lot of people wish or want or think about getting better, but they don't do, and the magic is in the doing. So,
Chaz, I'm burning with a question to ask you, because you're very unique out of all my guests. You have a contagious energy, like you are truly different. But I want to ask you, this is my personal question, because I'm always looking for the energies, for sources, for inspiration, and I have my moment when my life changed radically. What juices you? Where do you get inspiration? What drives you every day?
People. I'm lucky to be around, and every day when I hear these stories of how we're making a difference in people's lives, how can you not feel good?
Appreciation.
It's like
one big word, appreciation.
Just crazy. Going back to kinesiology, it's energy cycle, right? Energy creates energy.
Yes.
It's like a flywheel. When you can get the flywheel to move, the hardest part is always getting started, right? It's to get the flywheel going. But once it's going, and the key is to keep it going, and that's to put yourself in situations that you're getting the positive side of it. And I think, unfortunately, when managers and management, some of it is negative, right? It's you're dealing with this problem. I got a member upset about that, and I got whatever negative thing can come up, and it's the more that you can put positivity into your life, the more that you can look at things from a positive viewpoint. No matter whatever happens bad on a daily basis, there's usually something good that I can look at or focus on or can figure out. But that's what creates that flywheel and keeps it moving. And I think that the challenge is a lot of people feel, and they'll tell themselves that I don't have that. And that's not true. Unfortunately, a lot of us talk about the strategies, right, like of how to do this, but the first thing that I always jump to is the story. What's the story you're telling yourself? If you're telling yourself you can't, I don't care what strategy you apply, you're not going to be it. And I use that as when I was a personal trainer back in the day. If they came in and said, I can't do this, I'm like, if that's a story you're telling yourself, then you're never going to be able to do it. It doesn't matter what I put you through. And I think that's applicable in leadership and management and in the way you feel about yourself. If you're telling yourself that you're not good enough, you can't do this, you're not able to, and all the negative things that we as human beings fill our head with, that story becomes a self-fulfilled prophecy. If you're telling yourself that you're capable, that you're able to, that you're going to be successful, that you can do it, it's a Henry Ford quote, if you think you can or you think you can't, you're going to be right.
That's right. That's right. And the whole law of attraction is on that way. And every book about mindset starts with internal thoughts.
Yeah.
What do you tell to yourself, right? If you believe in yourself, things happen. If you don't believe yourself, hey, no other things around you will not going to move you. But it's all about working. You gotta start working. Even sometimes when you don't feel like it, just do it and things start changing. Because the action and emotions are connected.
Yeah. Well, I grew up in martial arts where you're fighting, and when I grew up, it was a little more full contact than maybe it is now in like a training session. And what I learned really quickly is that when you're sparring with somebody, your mind is way more important than the physical skills that you have. and I will tell you, if you in martial arts, whoever's the most confident person mentally usually ends up being the one that wins the fight, because confidence matters. It's not technique, it's not a lot of things. It's if you're scared or you're not sure, you're trying not to win, you're trying not to lose versus trying to win, or you're focused on this person's bigger, stronger, faster, you're going to lose every time. And you can take those analogies for me, I take a lot of the analogies of martial arts, the lessons that I learned, and I just apply it to life from the standpoint of that. It was a great tool, and I grew up doing a lot of martial arts as a kid, so I really was immersed into it, and it really helped me develop a kind of what I'm going to say is my own personal philosophy, but it is a very martial arts-based philosophy of where I think I got my thoughts and ideas of how to lead people, how to teach people, how to manage, how to do all of that, because all of it comes from my thoughts as a martial arts instructor originally, is how I could help and work with the people that I was teaching to make them better.
Train their brain, train their mind, train their mindset, core. It's all come from the heart and from the mind. You're making a lot of now martial art business owners proud, not knowing what they're doing for the people, you being the story behind and knowing how that impacts your life, but not only your life, but people you work with and people you impact through the work you do for them. And everybody feels that. Thousands of employees, thousands and hundreds of thousands of members who went, probably millions. How many members did went through Wisconsin Club over the last 4 decades?
Oh yeah.
God knows. But it's impact that we are doing on a daily basis. Small change in our mindset today can make such a huge difference for people's lives. All the way to saving somebody's life, from taking their life.
Yeah.
We are not talking about saving, but improving it, living the life of fulfillment.
Yeah.
And it starts with us. Starts with us when we work with people we work with. My God, this is incredible story. I'm truly blessed to have you today. As we summarize this episode for everybody else listening, people are now looking into your brands, looking into you. Who is Chaz? How do we connect with this guy? How do we find more about this brand? How do we experience what these guys experience? People will be searching. So how can people find more about you? Either they're looking for employment or investment or partnership or just joining a gym.
I mean, my email is just Chez, C-H-E-Z, @thewac.com, so feel free to email me if there's any questions or anything I can help with. Our website is www.thewac.com. So I think those are 2 great ways. The other one is, feel free, if you're ever in the Metro Milwaukee area, stop into one of our clubs. I think the best way to experience something is experience it, and that's one of the things we do. I get to travel, and so do my business partners, and when we travel, we always go to clubs. My wife probably doesn't enjoy that as much as I do when we travel, but I always try to go in and just experience, because you learn so much from the experience in the clubs, and more importantly, I can say whatever I want to say. It's what happens on a day-to-day basis that matters, right? So saying that we operate good clubs or that we have a good feel is nice, but what at the end of the day matters is that when a member or a guest or somebody walks into our club, what do they experience? Because that's where the rubber meets the road.
And I want to say thank you on behalf of the community, Chaz. You really live your mission. Make difference in people's lives. You started with that. This is the first thing you said. And this is what you demonstrated. People listening this in community now feel like I feel, and everybody is, oh my God, this is really making a difference. And it starts from the heart, starts from the really desire to make better and to live the life of fulfillment. Chaz, on behalf of the community, appreciate you being here today and sharing your wisdom. Really appreciate it.
My pleasure.
And for you guys who know what to do, when you listen to this, click share, subscribe, and send this to somebody you know can make such a huge impact. You'll change their lives. And until then, we are signing off. See you next time. Bye, everybody. If you are a gym owner looking to become a top-rated gym in your area, visit topratedgym.com and grab our free 30-day reputation boost. That's topratedgym.com. I'll add it to the show notes for you. Don't forget to share this with your friends. Stay strong, stay motivated, and keep pushing your gym to the top. Until next time, this is Andre signing off.